October, November 2001, over 6 years. We've been doing this. We've been a voice for peace. We've been a voice for justice. And not just the Portland Peaceful Response Coalition, but the War Resisters League, Peace and Justice Works, Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, so many other groups. We have the Impeach Action group here. We know there are some genuinely pissed off grannies in the crowd. Now we know also that emotions are a little higher than usual. We are looking back on a year of war and occupation, 2007. We want to make sure that everyone knows here that throughout these years we've been out here, we've been heckled, we've been harassed, sometimes by individuals on the street, sometimes by law enforcement. And we don't reflect back that hatred and ignorance. We reflect back love and compassion. And we often blow kisses as a way to respond. And we ask you all to embrace that kind of philosophy with us tonight. And we're looking back on this war on terror, and we grieve for the thousands that have died in these wars, the tens of thousands that have been wounded, the tens of thousands displaced, the tens of thousands illegally detained at Guantanamo Bay, at the secret prisons created by the Bush administration. We grieve for the people who have been victimized by this administration's policies of torture, a policy signed off by the Vice President. And we also, in addition to these wars that we have opposed each week here, we also reach out to the other social justice movements of this country. We reach out to the people who are struggling for equality, our brothers and sisters in the gay and lesbian and transgender communities that have been victimized by this discrimination, this discriminatory institution of marriage as it now exists. And they were dealt a setback, but they will come back strong, and we will stand with them in that struggle. And we know also, very importantly, that we will stand with the immigrant and undocumented communities that have been so victimized by this administration, and sadly by others not in the administration. There are allies in the commercial media that have stirred up hatred against these people. They have adopted the plan, the policy of despots throughout history. When they see their polling numbers plummeting because of the war in Iraq and because of the state of the economy, they choose the plan and the policy of despots throughout history by finding the most vulnerable part of our community, those people in our community that cannot fight back, and they blame society's problems on those people. This is what we're seeing in the attacks on the immigrant community. And right here in Portland, we saw the ICE raids. ICE raids that terrorized families, that split up families in the immigrant and undocumented communities. We stand with those people. As we look back on 2007 and we look forward to 2008, we grieve, yes, and we know that we witnessed these crimes, but we were not silent, were we? No! And we are not going to be silent, are we? No! We will continue to speak out. We will continue to act out. We will not be quieted down, not now, not ever. As we look forward to 2008, we confront the question that has confronted people in this country and throughout the world through the ages. How do we organize a social movement to change the direction of our society and in this country? A historian looking back on the very important year of 1968 commented that a turning point during the activism and organizing against the Vietnam War was when the anti-war movement joined forces with the civil rights movement. And today we have a civil rights movement. I think the heart and soul of that civil rights movement is the immigration rights movement. We know that these people who have been so viciously targeted, but that have come together so strongly to fight back for their rights, we know that that is the civil rights movement that we need to forge alliances with. We know that's not the only civil rights movement. We know the civil rights movement against these illegal detentions, against these warrantless wiretaps, against the discrimination of our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, against people in color, the civil rights movement that continues for gender equality. All of this is the civil rights movement that we, as a part of the peace movement, need to join with. That alliance has the potential to build a social movement that cannot be ignored, that can take the reins of this country and lead it to a new place, a kind of country that respects human rights, does not tolerate, would never tolerate the use of torture, and would not tolerate the kind of mass criminal behavior that our country has indulged in over these past several years and beyond. We are now going to march to City Hall to invite our City Council members to join us on Fridays and take part in this very important expression of freedom here at Pioneer Courthouse Square, Portland's living room. Now, we know there are moves underway to roll back the Friday rally, to roll back the rights that we have exercised for over 6 years here at Pioneer Courthouse Square. And we face those efforts steadfast. I am so proud to have been a part of this weekly tradition over these years, and I'm so proud to be a part of this community. And I know I am not alone in standing here and speaking out. There will be others who will come after me, and I will join them again in the future. So let's march, let's make some real noise, and let's strike another blow for freedom here in Portland, Oregon. Thank you for being here.
Everywhere we go, everywhere we go, people want to know, people want to know who we are, oh, we tell them, so we tell them, we are the people, mighty, mighty people, mighty, mighty people, gonna fight for justice, gonna fight for justice, gonna stop this war, gonna stop this war. Yeah!
I have a spare sign if anyone would like to carry one who doesn't have one.
And if anybody wants a copy of the Bill of Rights, I have some here. It's the first 10 amendments of the Constitution.
We'll check back with you next hour. Kelly, they're supposedly marching down to City Hall. We're going to start here.
Maybe Pioneer Courthouse Square management needs a copy.
Just see what happens here as far as associations and something to like that. Live at Pioneer Courthouse Square.
Talk about what we normally talk about.
Peter?
Hey, Max, we leave no marcher behind.
Oh, he's still here.
No justice, no peace. It's time to impeach. No justice, no peace. It's time to impeach. No justice, no peace.
It's time to impeach!
No justice, no peace. It's time to impeach. No justice, no peace. It's time to impeach.
I wish he'd have done it. Yeah, me too. Actually, makes a list How are you today? Stop the war now! That was not needed because now there's some remake reviews. Brother, why would how about 8?
Democrats are no better. They don't talk about it either. And yet, it would seem the most vulnerable point, most vulnerable argument that they would have against the Republicans. But they don't talk about it either. Why is that? We have put this issue back on the table. Because it's not going away, even though there's so-called surge, this escalation, where there's the temporary will of the violence, there's a continuous will that does. This year, the deadliest year for U.S. troops. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. So there's a civil war, unjust, illegal, unnecessary, horrible disaster escalation. The temporary will of the violence is a continuous flow that does. This year, the deadliest year for U.S. troops. So there's a civil war,
wasn't honking the sport. I'm trying to drown them out. They ain't gonna stop the fucking war.
Oh, well, thanks for trying to drown them out. Yeah.
Doing good.
I'm all for war myself, really, so.
I'm not.
Oh.
You can't do anything about this fucking country.
We can try, speak out, demand justice.
You know what? I'm 56 years old. I never voted. I'm proud of it. What are you gonna vote
I know,
for?
it's a
What
crooked
are they gonna
system.
do?
I know.
Who are you gonna vote for?
But damn, I want peace. I want
monkeys.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But don't you want peace?
Oh, you bet.
So do I. But, okay.
On September 15th this year, several events to exercise their freedom. Among them were Veterans for Peace, Iraq Veterans Against the War, members of United for Peace and Justice, Answer Coalition, and several other prominent groups. These individuals were just acquitted in federal court, where the prosecution's case melted in the face of the First Amendment. And that is why we're here. This is what we're exercising today. And you know, they tried to stop them there. These people faced down the Capitol Police, the federal justice system, and they won.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you about what we can do.
Is this a public place? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, this is our house.
We are the people, aren't we? Just as Fairfield Square is Hilton's living room, this is our hall. This is our city hall. We the people! Hey! Get him, okay.
You know, I want to just get a reminder everybody here about how important our work is. Because as you know, they just had an election last night in Iowa. I know, All of these candidates say they're standing up for change. They don't understand what kind of change we want. They didn't mention the word empire. A lot of people voted for Obama because he's going to take Pakistan seriously. I think he was going to go in and bomb these guys. And yesterday on the Amy Goodman show, they're talking about some of the advisors for these people. And the advisors tell you what's in their heads. One of the advisors for Obama was Zbigniew Brzezinski. Yeah, he deserves a big boo because he's the one that started arming the Mujahideen when they had a communist government in Afghanistan. And one of the reasons they gave for maybe going into Afghanistan later on, much later, after 9/11, was that they're going to improve the lives for women. But guess who was improving lives for women? It was this communist government that they armed the Mujahideen to take down. They allowed the Taliban to come in and put the women in burqas. What a bunch of lies. Zbigniew Brzezinski's not a nice guy, folks. And there's another guy, Dennis.
You're on board.
Huh?
You did oppose you're on board, but he's big.
He's all wrong on a lot of people. This guy is not a peacenik. Dennis, they had another guy, Dennis Ross.
Oh, dear. Well,
And Dennis Ross has mentioned that he thinks that the rights of Palestinians should be subverted to the needs of the Israeli government. Dennis, I know, it's the oppressed. He also, Dennis Ross, one of the advisors now for Obama, get this right, the guy that wants change. He also, I guess, attacked Jimmy Carter after he wrote the book, Peace or Apartheid. So Obama is not getting advice from people that we would agree in. And they got a guy named Anthony Lake, another one of his advisors. Anthony Lake was behind, I guess, the invasion of Haiti when they took out Aristide. And Aristide's big crime. He wanted to raise the pay for some of the workers there to $1 a day, double the pay. Corporate America doesn't like that. So anyway, it's our work that's going to bring change. Certainly not going to be any kind of an election. And advisors for Giuliani and Hillary, scary. That's right. It's just scary.
yeah, Giuliani's advisors are neocons from society that the Bush administration won't have anything to do with them.
We had a request for someone to read the First Amendment, so I'll do that. There's some people in this city that I think aren't really aware that exists or we're in. Amendment 1 to the Constitution. Freedom of religion, press, expression, ratified 12/15/1791. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and petition the government for a redress of grievances. It's really short and simple, but that's why we're here. And that is probably...
You can be out here on this concrete field.
It's
raining out there.
Oh, why?
I'm sorry.
Let's see it. Yes, I want you to tell us what ordinance and what you're urging that on.
Is that you can be out here, right there on that little sidewalk. What's your name?
Oh,
What's your name? What's yours? Steve. Okay, Steve. That's good. Let's see what we're going to ask you, but please don't be quiet.
I think that we actually
What's the point?
make a point that we've done that. We're ready to leave anyway. But
I would like to ask you, sir, what's the point? We weren't coming into our building. We weren't messing up your business or ours.
We have a private event that's going on here.
There's a wedding going on inside. That concern, which is a reasonable concern, that hasn't been mentioned by this gentleman, but I think we all share this concern, is that people coming to the wedding may not know what's going on here. We want to respect those folks.
Well, sure.
We are going to be heading back to Pioneer Courthouse Square to continue this action. So we invite folks to join PPRC and the other groups as we head back to Pioneer Courthouse Square.
Yeah. Why didn't you say that instead of coming out here and putting the thing down?
We send the best wishes for our wedding, and we
also ask the people remarried to discuss the fact that they are accepting special rights. Are people being married aware of that?
Aware of what?
Sure.
Oh, that's a good point.
Hey, thanks.
You bet.
Everyone know! People want to know! People want to know! Oh, we are! Who we are! Oh, we tell them! Oh, we tell them! We are the people! We are the people! The mighty, mighty people! The mighty, mighty people! God to the square! God to the square!
How's it going?
Hey, how you doing, buddy? I understand why.
In addition, that the employees are urged to report any un-American whatever going on inside. So in other words, all the delegates in the campaign every night.
He says what he said, though. Yeah.
Compensation, compensation for the board meeting. That's like all the security guards are smart.
Do a little raggedy. That doesn't mean sure they get it.
Fighting for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Fighting for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Fighting for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Fighting for jobs and education. Fighting for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Fighting for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Fighting for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Fighting for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation.
Guys might speak out against the war, like Richard said. They don't get to go to the debates.
Yeah. Yeah,
I went to a website.
How you doing? Good. All right, take care.
That's a big picture. The only reason I don't think it'd be easy is if they'll follow the trap. I don't think it's easy.
In 2003, George Bush launched a preemptive war, which was a war of choice. It was unnecessary. It had nothing to do with our national security. We were not being threatened by Iraq or Saddam Hussein. They had no weapons of mass destruction as we know now, and as many people knew then. It was an unnecessary war. It was an unjust war. It is certainly an immoral war, as all wars are, and it is an illegal war. Wars of choice are illegal. Wars of choice are a crime. George Bush should do time. Wars of choice are a crime. 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 I want to thank you for showing up tonight. Even though the weather threatened to be very, very nasty, it seems like we were kind of spared a little bit. We're down here, as you all know, every Friday. Have been for the last 6+ years. That's over 300 Fridays in a row that we've been down here with the megaphone, sometimes with drums, always with our voices. And I think we've become something of an institution here. No one has ever complained to us. I mean, they disagreed with what we said, but they've never complained to us that we should stop. They never complained that we were too loud. But now, in the start of the election year, it seems that they want to silence us. By they, I mean Pioneer Courthouse Square Management.
Corporation. Starbucks.
Yes, Pioneer Courthouse Square Incorporated. And who knows who, if anyone, may be behind them. Possibly the Portland Business Alliance, but I don't know. It just seems that, it seems kind of a coincidence that at the beginning of this very important election year, when so much is at stake, they want to silence us. But just as we've been doing for over 6 years, we don't intend to be silent.
No!
And I'm going to be here next week with a megaphone, speaking again, leading chants, and anybody who wants to speak on our behalf is welcome to speak as well.
Bring your constitution.
All right.
So thank you all once again. Hope to see you next week.
One short, quick announcement before we go. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for another Afghani man that died at Guantanamo Bay. His death was announced today. His body is on its way home. He never got to see his family again. Never got to see his children. And we don't know what his circumstances were, but he passed away from cancer. And he's on his way home, so I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for him. And pray for the rest of them. Thanks.
Bring them all. Close it down. Close it down.
Let's go back
Remember,
to no cruel and inhuman punishment.
this Friday is National Close Down Guantanamo Bay Day.
Quit using the term harsh interrogation. The word is torture.
Yeah.
Most people
I think I'm Melvin.
what